morning, everyone, and welcome. Good morning. My name is Brigitte Vieira. My pronouns are she, her, and it is an honor to be your worship leader this morning, while our minister, Reverend Christine Dance, is away from the pulpit this summer. Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. Please find a place in our sanctuary where your body can be the most comfortable. We have so many seating options. I see back there, looking good over there with your various supplies. Hello, beloveds. Hello, good morning. You can also, if you want to be outside, it's a little warm, but there's a meditation garden over here to your right. And if you are at home or watching this wherever you are, settle into your body. I want to give a special welcome to anyone who is joining us for the first time. Please do introduce yourself to me after the service. Here at UUCP, we strive to be a spiritual community for our time, focused on diverse theological perspectives, radical inclusion, knowing that issues of justice and equity shape everything we feel called to do. And a very special welcome to all of you, those of you who are streaming online, whether it's Zoom, Facebook, what else we got? YouTube, so many different ways. Those in the room, please turn around and wave to our beloveds online. Good morning. Together we are one beautiful congregation, no matter who we are or where we are participating today. This morning, we are going to be contemplating how the interruptions in our lives can become these beautiful invitations in becoming anew. So join me as I read our singing bowl, inviting it to draw you deeper into the present moment and to soften into what it means to embrace possibility.
Good morning. Good morning. I am John Palumbo. My pronouns are he, him, and I am your worship associate for today. Our opening words are the poem Disruption by Ida Haeckel. Life was flowing its own sacred rhythm when suddenly an accident interrupted the flow, changing everything, perhaps never to return to the accustomed way. Living in the now, in the face of uncertainty, living each day fully, one at a time, letting go of plans, disappointing others, yet still grateful it did not happen under worse circumstances. In unfamiliar surroundings, a reminder of transience, not to get attached to what has been comfortable or even familiarly uncomfortable. Join me as we recite our covenant, and Knox, with a little help from Nick, lights our chalice. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth, sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, seek knowledge and freedom, share our strength and fellowship, thus do we covenant. So everything going on in our community can be found on our website, phoenixuu.org, and in our weekly newsletter, Compass. The Heat Relief Network offers hydration, cooling, and heat relief respite centers throughout the valley. Today at 4 p.m., you can help them pack heat relief bags. Links to donate or to register to participate are on the Civic Engagement website. After service at noon, we'll have an Earth-themed open mic here in the sanctuary with Igor Glenn. Awesome. Yeah. And next Sunday after service, we will have a tie-dye party. Bring white or light-colored items that you would like to dye. We'll be in the Grove with dyes, rubber bands, soda ash, and some collective knowledge to create your fun fashion. Vote Forward was effective in our Good Trouble campaign to encourage folks to vote in the 2022 general election. Consider logging in or registering at Vote Forward now to inform Ohio women about their crucial special elections regarding reproductive justice and voting access. Letters need to be sent August 1st, so there's plenty of time. Links are on the Civic Engagement website. One of the ways we lean into our shared practice of turning social problems into liberatory problems is by actively creating a more just and loving world. Share the Plate is one of the ways we do this, by splitting our offering with UUCP and a local organization. This June, our Share the Plate partner is No More Deaths, No Más Muertes, a ministry of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. The mission of No More Deaths embraces possibility by investing in strategies that make sure walls and borders come apart so that together we can build anew and put an end to the death and suffering happening in the Mexico-U.S. borderlands. To do this, No More Deaths runs volunteer-based projects to create a world where love knows no borders. As a dedication to immigrant justice work, please give generously to help our local communities become anew, so as you so often do.
heart feels so full this morning from this beautiful music. Thank you, beloveds. It is now time for Together Time. So folks of all ages and sizes and bodies, you can come on up if you want to. Gather with me on these steps. Good morning. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Good morning and welcome to Together Time, one of my favorite times of how we be together. So today, we're going to talk about something I just kind of recently discovered that I think is pretty cool. Did you know that most of our human behavior involves a part of our body that most of us don't even know about? It's not our toes or our nose, and it's not our tongue or our lung. It's not our eye or our thigh. It's actually this very complex and very sensitive organ that communicates not just with our bodies, but also with the bodies of those around us. Some people call it a second brain. What? And it was only discovered a little over 100 years ago. This very important part of the body is called the vagus nerve, or the wandering nerve, vagus, V-A-G-U-S. But there's this really cool therapist named Resma Menakem, and I like what he calls it. He calls it the soul nerve. Ooh, let's say that. Ooh. Yes, the soul nerve. The soul nerve, what is it? The soul nerve reaches into most of our body, and the largest part of it travels through our guts. This is why for many of us, we say, I feel it in my gut, or I have an instinct that's trying to communicate. When we have an emotional response to something and our body is experiencing a reaction, it's usually our soul nerve at work. Sometimes when I'm scared, my heart starts to pulse, right? Or maybe if I get some unsettling news that worries me, my stomach will drop. That's the soul nerve at work. And other times the soul nerve does things I'm not even aware of. It turns out that when I'm with a loved one in a noisy place, the soul nerve works these little tiny muscles in my middle ear so that I can better hear my loved one in a really noisy room. One of the ways that we take care of one another is by learning how to befriend and trust our soul nerve. And this is something our ancestors have been doing across generations with so many spiritual practices. Because life can be really hard sometimes. Scary things might happen, and sometimes we feel confused. So today, we're going to tap into some of the practices our ancestors have known that scientists are now starting to realize is a real thing. We're going to befriend our soul nerve together. Who's ready? Woo! Okay. So we're going to try a couple things today. The first is just get comfortable. Settle into your seat. And together, let's take a big, deep, full breath. In through the nose, back out through the mouth. Let's do another one. In through the nose. Back out. Now you can stay seated or stand. We are going to rock. You can rock side to side, forward and backward. Find the movement in your body that just feels where you are lovingly held. Now rock a little faster. Notice how that feels. A little bit slower. Our ancestors have been rocking together, holding babies, rocking one another in song, because these are the things that settle our soul nerves. You can keep rocking if you want to, or you can stop. Now we're going to buzz together. Bzz. So let's take another deep breath in through the nose, back out. And this time when we inhale, on the exhale, buzz. Inhale. Buzz a little louder. And this time we're going to be little bees, little softer buzzes, breathing in with a little buzz. Beautiful. Beloveds, these are two very simple practices that we can practice individually and in community, learning how to trust our soul nerves. So, there's one more thing that we do all the time here at UUCP, and it's one of the practices that settles our soul nerve. Any guesses what it could be? Sing! That's right! So, beloveds, as you buzz back to your seats, we are going to sing. Yeah, so Benji, take it away. Lead us in a collective song. You can stay here, head back.
So, hold on just a moment. I want to introduce you. So I'm Benji Messer, I use he, him pronouns, the music director here. As you have already heard, today's service features UUCP violinist Ann Lackey and pianist Hallie Harron. I know, right? Ann and Hallie, the piece they played during offertory is the theme from the film Ladies in Lavender, and they perform booking themselves as the Lavender Ladies at retirement homes around town. If any of you have a contact for them, talk to them after the service. This is a song for us to sing together by Unitarian Universalist minister John Corrado. We'll play it once, and then we'll sing it together. Feel free to stand or to stay seated. Here we go. Here's from the top. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you all singing. In dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still you calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing. One again. Voice still and small, deep inside all,
now we make that sacred space for the joys and sorrows in our community. For those of you on Zoom, please feel free to enter in their joys or sorrows into the chat, putting your name at the beginning so I can see them. And as we make time to support one another, let us begin by centering ourselves with a moment of stillness. Beloveds, let us take a collective deep breath together. It is with a very heavy heart this morning that I share some tender news with you all about Arlene Cole Salmon, a longtime member of our community. As you may recall, earlier this month, Arlene had an accident involving a car and has been at the intensive care unit at Honor Health Osborne. With exquisite care and so much gentleness and consultation with the medical team, Arlene's beloved daughters will be discontinuing Arlene's life support tomorrow. Reverend Christine will be there at the hospital with Arlene and with her family as we transition and show UUCP's abundant love and care. Arlene's family has requested that if anyone would like to visit Arlene, that all visits happen before this evening. If you would like to visit Arlene but would feel more comfortable with a compassionate companion, please reach out to me, and myself or a member of our Caring Ministries team will be there to offer loving support. And beloveds, as we enter this threshold time with Arlene, and also wade through the very many emotions of a loss as unexpected and jarring as this, may we renew our connections of radical care for one another as we grieve the loss of our beloved. I also have a stone of joy this morning. This is for the celebration of the summer solstice, which happened last Wednesday. From Ellie Anderla, we have a joy. Ellie says, "Happy birthday to Dorothy Ward, a longtime UU who watches our services online with the UUs at the Beatitudes." Hello, beloveds. Dorothy is celebrating her 90th birthday today. Blessings to you, Dorothy, as a non-Nigerian. Welcome. Happy, happy. A joy from Peyton, who is watching from home. Peyton turned 17 yesterday and says, "I enjoyed celebrating with classmates, old friends, and family, and had a wonderful time. Much love to everyone who said happy birthday." Happy birthday, Peyton. And from Jan Kaplan, we have a sorrow. Jan shares, "I am so sad about the sudden death of my friend Jerry Katzman while on a hiking vacation in Italy. Jerry was a friend and UU leader from Rochester, Minnesota. I saw him 2 weeks ago and can't believe he's gone." Jerry's wife, Elizabeth, reminded me that grief is an expression of love. Indeed. And we'll take another deep breath in, back out. For all of the joys and sorrows of our community, those spoken and those held in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, we send each other love. Join me, beloveds, as we honor one another in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love, who move within us, among us, and beyond us, this morning we offer up gratitude. Gratitude for the beginning of summer, as a season where our ancestors have given us rituals that honor the life-evoking energy of the sun. Today, we also celebrate birthdays, those young and those young at heart and older. Remind us that we bless one another with friendship as we celebrate the many milestones of our lives. This morning, we especially commit ourselves to honoring the fullness of grief as we say a loving goodbye to Arlene and process the other deaths in our lives. Help us remember that grief is an extension of love, and guide us during this tender time to comfort one another with delicate, delicate care. Help us reach for hopes that lie beyond what we do not understand. Spirit and life and love, with all the joys and sorrows of our lives, may we be reminded that our individual and collective journeys are always in process, coming apart and becoming anew, and that together we are part of a larger story, connected in mystery and wonder. May it be so. Amen.
As often seems to be the case, and I don't know if it's just fortune or not, this service comes at the right time for me. Right now, my life is full of change, turmoil, and to be honest, it's stressing me out. This fall, my daughter, Chandani, goes off to college in Tucson, which is totally awesome, but it's also a little scary. She's the first one to leave the house, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. I know, I'm not. I'm pretending I am for her sake, but I'm not. Hopefully she's not back there listening to me right now. Also this fall, I'm retiring from the steady paying job with great benefits that has been the only thing I've known for 21 years. Meanwhile, I've got to go through an extensive medical process to count for all the things that I've broken over those 21 years. There's a lot. And I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing through that process. And now I'm leaving that job of 21 years. I've got to find a way to translate all the things I've done in the Army into skills that make me marketable in academia, not very well aligned. Because academia is what, as we like to say in the Army, what I want to do when I grow up. Then there's trying to deal with the issues that come from moving your family every 2 to 3 years. Oh, sorry, we spun out there. Moving your family every 2 to 3 years and the deferral of dealing with the issues that come up for moving your family every 2 to 3 years, because it's kind of hard to get anywhere when you have to start over with completely new professionals to deal with those issues every 2 to 3 years. I have my full medical records saved in a document on my phone because every time I go to see a new doctor, it takes 30 minutes to go over my medical history. Again, a lot of issues. So there's a lot going on in my life, and I've been feeling just a little overwhelmed. Oh, did I mention that my doctor and I came to the decision that now is the time to replace my knee? Not exactly the most convenient time for this, but it's no longer an option to wait. So yeah, all of this has me stressed out. And when I say stressed out, I'm leaving out all the emphasizing adjectives I want to use because of the setting we're currently in.
Amen, brother. Amen.
So yeah, this service comes at the perfect time for me because it helps me to focus on all the positives I have. Yes, my daughter is leaving the nest. Hi, Chandani. But it's really awesome to watch her grow. I have that steady and paying job of the last 21 years. It gives me great benefits, including medical insurance to pay for the new knee. I get a comfortable retirement from that job. I'm finally done moving so we can deal with all that deferred maintenance from constantly moving. And most importantly of all, my family and I are surrounded by this beautiful community of caring, enriching, and fun people. And that makes it all seem a little bit okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John, for modeling how to be vulnerable in community. Yeah. Knock, knock, knock. Go away. Not today, I said to the first sleeping giant in my life. Knock, knock, knock. I can't hear you, I say, trying to shush that sleeping giant away. Knock, knock, knock. Please, stop interrupting me. I am too busy, I pleaded. Oh, beloveds, how many times have I tried to ignore the knock, knock, knock from the sleeping giants in the basement of my life. In the book Broken Open, author Elizabeth Lesser describes the many ways in which our heart or soul's first knock often feels like this nagging, rude, or sudden interruption. In my lived experience, I've discovered that underneath that knocking beat is a voice still and small, deep inside us all, a voice calling, a voice singing, a voice with a very big question. Will you listen? A sleeping giant's knock can take so many forms. It can appear as this deep sense of longing, the kind of ache that asks big questions, daring us to consider our soul's desire. Questions like, is this all there is to life? Is this what I am supposed to be doing? The kind of longing that feels so scary and saturated with fear because we know that if we listen, our lives will change. These are the knocks that lure us to become anew, even when we aren't yet sure what that could possibly be. And a knock at the door can also be a disquieting dream or a secret plan too terrifying to enact. So we pray that sleeping giant stays far away. Knocks like these could be submitting that application to go back to school, professing your admiration to a potential lover or crush, leaving a job or a marriage, finally telling your parent how you actually really feel, or planning a vacation and leaving the kids at home. These are the knocks that are taunting us to maybe let some things fall apart. But that feels too risky to even consider. We don't dare try to say them out loud. But there are some knocks at the door that can be louder and even more scary. Coming out to an unaccepting family member, experiencing an identity crisis after retirement, admitting infidelity to a partner, having to suddenly and heartbreakingly make difficult decisions about end-of-life care for a loved one, confiding a relapse of sobriety to a sponsor, meeting with your doctor and receiving a diagnosis of cancer. These are the knocks that tell us we and the world we live in is coming apart, and we do not know how it could be possible to become anew. All knocks from the sleeping giants of our lives are courageous calls to vulnerability. Knocks demand that we pay attention to what is happening in our lives, either by choice or by circumstance. And when we listen to that still, small voice behind the knocks in our lives, sometimes that interruption can become an invitation. And when we accept that invitation and open that door, it gets hard again. We often find ourselves rooting around in a dark, mysterious inner landscape with heightened stress, overwhelming anxiety, terrible moods, repetitive mistakes, habits of self-sabotage, and interpersonal betrayals and trespasses waiting to be acknowledged. Chronically confused, stuck, enraged, in deep, deep pain, and very terribly afraid, most of us try to tranquilize the sleeping, knocking giants in our lives back to sleep. But if we stay with the coming apart, if we stay in the spirit of possibility and listen to that voice still and small, sometimes there is a new question that can whisper to us. Is this a sleeping giant, or perhaps a strange angel? Elizabeth Lesser hypothesizes that when life's harsh interruptions, be them chosen or imposed upon us, when those interruptions can be accepted as invitations, the sleeping giants of our lives have this very peculiar way of morphing into strange angels. My first sleeping giant was a broken marriage, vying for my attention. So for years, I performed as the, quote, perfect partner, and I tried to fix every blemish and stop all of its hemorrhaging wounds. Whenever the sleeping giant knocked to tell me things I didn't want to see or hear, I shielded myself with perfectionism, thinking that it would keep me safe. But instead, all it did was prevent me from being seen, being heard, and being real. You see, beloveds, my whole life, my go-to strategy to numb myself from pain has usually been one specific thing. I get my hands on as many self-help books as I possibly can. And when I run out of those, I listen to every podcast available, specific to the unique struggle I am in, always gazing outward for solutions to the problems in my life. Problems that can be as extraordinary as an unexpected tragedy, and problems that can be as ordinary as the mundane tedium that just leaves me feeling distasteful and blah in my life. But unfortunately, this coping mechanism to gaze out instead of in often resulted in this very uncomfortable divided life, where my body was storing all these unacknowledged and unresolved feelings, the very ones that my head claimed to have already fixed and solved. So when I first heard that knock of that first sleeping giant in my life, I tried desperately to avoid the pain of coming apart. But no amount of self-help books or inspirational quotes could be stacked securely enough so that I could leapfrog over all of the uncomfortable emotions I was experiencing. Nothing could numb the pain I was in. It took me years. I rumbled through so many challenges, learning how to relinquish control, letting things come apart, and that sleeping giant whose name I now know was divorce was my first breakdown. But it also was a strange angel, my first breaking open. And wow, was it painful. And here's the thing, pain of all kinds makes each of us theologians. Pain is a place that can break us down and break us open, reminding us that life is full of rich meaning as much as it is full of tremendous hurt. Renowned therapist and activist Resmaa Menakem, in one of the many books I was reading, helped resource me to be able to tolerate the discomfort of pain, to gaze in, not out, when uncomfortable feelings arise. In his book, My Grandmother's Hands, Menakem says that there are two categories of pain. There is clean pain and dirty pain. Clean pain is the pain that mends and builds our capacity for healing and growth. It's also the unavoidable pain that accompanies us when we don't know what to do, when we feel scared, when we hear those knocks, when life is coming apart, but we move forward through it with honesty and vulnerability. When we feel clean pain, we don't look for external opinions or poll the audience. We actually look in as the expert of our own lives. We drop into our bodies. We learn how to respond, not react, to the present moment as it is. One of the embodied practices that can anchor us in times of heightened stress is what we did today. In Together Time, we practiced what it felt like to befriend and trust our soul nerve. Clean pain is what keeps our bodies in alignment with our values and helps us metabolize our pain so that we can grow. Dirty pain is when we respond to fear and conflict from our most wounded parts. It is the pain of avoidance, of blame and denial, the kind of pain that reacts with violence or cruelty, the kind of pain that can shut ourselves off from ourselves and also from the greater world. And instead of metabolizing our pain, dirty pain calcifies it. And in doing so, it creates more pain for ourselves and more pain for others. Beloveds, we live in a world of traumatic, dirty pain. A dirty pain that is constantly self-justifying itself with violence and control and manufactured fear. Dirty pain in our larger world is poverty. It's the killing of our planet. So many forms of oppression, racism, ableism, sexism, transphobia, and homophobia. Dirty pain is the us versus them mentalities that keep us afraid, isolated, and separate. And dirty pain is the shame and blame that make it so hard to love ourselves, and in turn, really, really hard to love one another. Attending to the heartbreak and pain in our lives and in our communities, instead of trying to fix it, minimize it, or fetishize it, is pretty countercultural. Refusing to ignore, refusing to look away, or merely only glancing when the breaking news breaks our hearts, this is holy, sacred work. Because as UU theologian Reverend Nancy McDonald Ladd reminds us, we cannot love more deeply if our hearts don't break together. And our hearts can't break together if we don't hear one another's stories. In our religious tradition, the dirty pains of hyper-individualism, self-determination, and white supremacy have plagued our ability to hear one another's voices and to attend to one another's pain. These plagues have also estranged us from our deepest selves and robbed us of the deep relational intimacy that our covenantal theology has been knocking, saying the time has come. the time to become anew, the time to become not just a liberal religion, but a liberatory one, a liberatory faith tradition that takes very seriously the radical spiritual practice of bearing witness, that is willing to name and listen to the pains of our lives and the pains of our times, so that we learn what it means to live in covenant and how to faithfully and lovingly attend to one another. A liberatory faith that doesn't just view the church as a place to shelter us from the pangs of our lives, but actively welcomes it, the pain of reality inside our sanctuary doors. A liberatory faith that listens to the knocking, sleeping giants in our lives and in our institutions, and is willing to feel the clean pain that can turn them into strange angels. When embraced, clean pain can internally resource us to turn our problems into possibilities, because it carries the potential to transform our bodies, our relationship to ourselves, and to the wider world. And Menachem acknowledges with honesty that clean pain hurts like hell. And this is why we need one another to move through it. In my experience, clean pain is an embodied spiritual practice, a practice of tuning in to the voice still and small, deep inside us all, that isn't just singing, but also weeping. Listening to our bodies so we can all learn how to be more free. We need each other, beloveds. We need one another to face clean pain just as much as we need one another to heal. Bearing witness to the discomfort of coming apart to become anew, turning the sleeping giants into strange angels, I believe that this is life-saving and liberatory work. My mantra for staying spiritually accountable to all of me and all of you in the triumphs, the tragedies, and tediums of our lives is simple. Feel it to heal it together. Feel it to heal it together. So, beloveds, as we go forth in this world of uncertainty and angst, may we each commit ourselves to the holy work of covenant, of being a beloved community that is willing and able to attend to pain. And when things start to come apart, may we remember we can feel it to heal it together, and in that discover that there is more love. There is more love somewhere. And together, perhaps, will become anew. Blessed be, and amen.
Thank you so much, Brigida. Everyone, please rise in body or spirit and join me. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. more joy. There is more joy. Come from where? There is more somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere, more love. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. Thank you. Please be seated, everyone.
Let us continue to attend to one another in communal care with coffee, music, and community. So right after our service, we are going to have a coffee hour, one online with our beloved congregant and member of our worship associate team, Gary Ezell, and one here in the Johnson room. And please stay tuned, because here in the sanctuary at noon is that real special treat. Our beloved congregant, Igor Glenn, and the UUCP folk singers are hosting an Earth-themed open mic, so please come listen and sing along. All other adult and children's activities begin at noon. Beloveds, let us go forth with hearts of both and. Hearts that are willing to bear witness to the joys and sorrows of our lives, so we can more fully attend to the pleasures and pains in the lives of others. May we embrace the possibilities of coming apart to become anew. May we feel it to heal it together. Go in peace, go in love.